You were in schools, I believe, this morning. What was the mood, and what were students and their families talking about?
Yeah, so I was at schools yesterday morning and this morning. Now all four East Side public schools. Yesterday was Nathan Bishop and Barton Gregorian. Today was Hope and Martin Luther King. I also visited two private schools yesterday, the Croft School and today the French American School, and sort of focusing on the schools that are closest to the affected area right now. As you might expect, particularly at the elementary level, the kids are still kids, and which is great. Actually, made me smile, and I know has been nice, like skipping to school, in a couple cases, literally. The teachers and the principals are being asked to do a hard thing, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that very much, and I think they appreciated seeing me. They appreciated the fact that Providence Police is there to provide a presence, because they have some fear and anxiety, which is totally understandable, but they're being asked to do a job on behalf of the kids, and they're stepping up and they're doing it, which is good. The parents, many of whom I spoke with, I was there specifically at the beginning of school to try to catch them at drop-off. I wanted them to see me and the police there, to feel like it was safe to bring their kids to school, and they were very happy to see the resources that we were providing. Now, I know there's parents who chose to keep their kid home, and so those are the parents I didn't see. And if that's what's right for the family, that's fine. That's a conversation that happens around the kitchen table that's really up to them. But I continue to believe it's very important that we have these schools open and that this be a place for people who need to go. One of the parents I spoke to this morning, this was just coincidental, but just because of bell times, I was at Hope High School first. She's the grandmother of the high school student. She's a CNA. She had worked all night. She was bringing her grandson to high school, and then an hour later I saw her at Martin Luther King, because she had grandkids that go to King also. I said, "Oh, it's you again." She said, "Oh, Mayor." And I said, "Oh my gosh." And she said, "I'm so tired. I worked all night. I'm helping with these kids. I don't know what I would do if these schools weren't open." And so for her, that was a critical resource for her to be able to have her kids in school when she's working third shift. Other families this morning at one of the schools, one woman, asked some sort of tough questions about, how do you know we're safe? And that's obviously a question that's come up many times over the last couple of days. And so I tried to reassure her with what we know. I made sure she saw, and she did, of course, the additional police protection that's being provided, but clearly she was anxious, and I understand that anxiety. So the range of emotion is, I think, pretty wide, but this is an important resource for our families to have our schools open.
And on that question of anxiety around public safety,
yeah.
If on Sunday, when the shelter in place was lifted, you had known that the person of interest was not involved in the shooting, would you still have lifted the shelter in place? And can you walk me through your thinking on that?
I think we would have. It's hard to say exactly what information we might have had in some hypothetical about how facts and details had changed. But I think we would have. And we talked on Saturday night about the fact that the shelter in place was allowing police the space they needed to do the initial part of the investigation. The crime scene at Brown was still very active, with a lot of evidence and still many people, and of course the shock of something like this happening here. The shelter in place, I think, also gave everyone very clear direction about, what do I do right now in this moment. But when we got to the morning, and the big push at the initial outset at the crime scene and in the surrounding neighborhood had largely concluded, and it was an appropriate time to lift it. unfortunately, and believe me, I'm disappointed that the initial person of interest turned out to be something of a dead end. Sometimes these things take
Were
time.
those two things connected? Was the lifting of the shelter in place and the detention of that person of interest connected?
Not directly. The lifting of the shelter in place was connected to the progress that we had made in the investigation and the status of the crime scene. And so obviously we hope to bring resolution to this immediately, but sometimes these things take a little while, and it's not practical or necessary or even advisable to keep a shelter in place for days or weeks.
I mean, they did that with the Boston Marathon bombing, if I remember correctly. Would that be untenable in Providence if you had to keep a shelter in place that long while a manhunt goes on?
From what I understand, because I've actually spoken to someone who was in Menino's office at the time, they did lift the shelter in place before they got the suspect. I do not believe it's best practice or protocol to keep a shelter in place in effect until such time as a suspect has been arrested. And again, I'm taking advice from law enforcement personnel and then making the best decision possible for our community. And based upon the advice that I got around the status of their investigation and the status of the crime scene, we felt like it was an appropriate time to lift it. And without knowing exactly what a hypothetical might look like, I think I would have made the same decision.
In this case, quite unusually, you happen to live very close to the scene.
Yeah.
Have you? I mean, I assume the answer would be that you've gone through any. I don't know if you have any video cameras at your house, but was that part of your process to see whether you had any video of this person of interest, or even maybe had even not knowing it at the time, but seen this individual on the street because you're so close? Is that part of your process, something that you did?
Yeah, you're right. I do live like 3 buildings away, and we do have security footage that has been turned over to the police and the FBI. And it'll be up to them to tell you and to tell the public if they feel like it is useful. We've received as a city some footage that has not helped advance the investigation, but I do have cameras at my house, and in some ways I'm also sort of a citizen in this thing. But I will say the second part of your question, I did not witness anything personally.
The 311 alert system and the notification system has turned into a discussion point. We're looking ahead. Do you think that the 311 or the alert system needs to be bolstered in the future or supplemented from what the city has now?
Yeah, it's definitely the case that, and we've certainly heard from feedback from residents, that not as many people receive 311 notices than want them. And so we do need to figure out a way to enroll more people. As I said at the press conference the other day, and has been the case ever since we rolled out the 311 system, these text alerts are opt-in and you have to register.
Is there an option to do everybody to do a non-opt-in? Is there, I don't know the technical, but I believe there are some alerts that just go to all phones for things like hurricanes.
Yeah, so
there are 2 systems. If you could just explain how that decision is made to go with the opt-in versus the...
Right, so the Rhode Island Department of Emergency Management, REMA, has the ability to push out like a hurricane alert without permission. Just like sometimes we receive an Amber Alert or something like that. The city uses our 311 system, which is opt-in. We will certainly, there's going to be plenty of after-action reviews that take place on this and many other topics, where we're going to look to say, okay, what could we have done better? How do we prepare for whatever might come next? And one of those questions on this topic is, how do we get more people to receive our alerts? Are there options where, without people's permission, we can push out a notice?
Can you ask the state, ask Raima to press the button?
We can, and we didn't. And looking back on it, we'll have to decide whether that's something that should have been done. But in the moment, we were communicating through every means we know how, which is to say we've pushed 311 notices out. We've certainly communicated through all of our official media channels, and we've relied heavily on the media, and they've been great. I think there are some rules on REMA's system around sort of what reaches the threshold, and we've used and I don't know those rules. We've used the 311 system to keep people informed on some things that probably wouldn't meet that threshold. For example, yesterday there was a report of gunshots on the east side, which of course caused concern. It was determined to be unfounded. We pushed out a notice letting people know that it was unfounded. I don't know if that would meet the standard that REMA has to live through.
And maybe it's too early for this, but do you know if there have been any discussions between the city and Brown or between the colleges about security on campus and whether it has fallen behind the current best practices and standards, given how this individual was apparently able to enter the building without any without any image in the building and fairly easily.
Yeah, I'm not aware of those discussions having happened yet, though I'm sure they will. A lot of the after-action reviews aren't happening yet, and at least the ones that are relevant to the city, I don't think they should. We still have a very pressing job, which is to continue and advance this investigation and to ultimately bring someone to justice. I will say it's Brown's responsibility, just like it's any other organization, private employer, institution in town. It's their responsibility to make decisions about security decisions for their building. We're here to help them, but we don't make decisions on key card access or types of locks for any building in the city of Providence other than city-owned buildings.
And this might have been handled in one of the press conferences, but were they did the 911 call go initially to Brown Police and then the city, or was it city? Was it city first and then Brown?
I honestly, I need a little clarity on that. Also, the chief of the Brown Police Department reported initially that the call came to Brown first, and I don't know that that's incorrect, but the fact is that the response was, there was no lag in response. Brown Police and then Providence Police responded almost immediately. There are law enforcement resources in that area very nearby.
Got it. And on the person of interest, and maybe this will probably be at the press conference, the chief, we have these images. Has this person on the images been identified as a person of interest because that description meets witness statements? Or to put it another way, for folks out in the public who are seeing these images of this video, how do we know that this is a person of interest? What's leading us to look at this particular individual dressed in black?
Yeah, you should ask the chief that question. When it comes to specifics about the investigation, it really needs to be the chief or the attorney general speaking to that, because it'll be their responsibility to actually bring charges and prosecute a case. But I'm confident the chief's prepared to answer that question.
What else? What else are you taking personally from this at this point? What do you want to know more of, other than getting this individual into custody? What are you taking away from where we are right now?
I think it's particularly hard for our community because something like this has never happened. I think we're all going through some emotional ups and downs as it progresses. I've been able to lean on the advice and support of some people who've been through this before, and they sort of keep reassuring me that this is how the process goes. This is sort of how the community and you respond and sort of go through these ups and downs. But we've never been through these ups and downs before, and so we're not. Everything is fresh and raw and sometimes scary because it's not something that we're used to, and hopefully it's not something we become used to. But it is truly a roller coaster for the community, and people, I think, were relieved on Sunday morning, and then the anxiety levels went up again Sunday night. And those are the same emotions that I'm feeling. And so I think it's okay, what I've tried to do is help our residents know that those emotional ups and downs are okay, but also to let them know and reassure them that we're making progress, because we are.
And are the comments made on the federal level from the FBI director and then the president, have those been helpful or unhelpful for the city of Providence?
I've been largely ignoring them, and we've got a lot of work to do, and in this day and age there is a lot of things being said by a lot of people. The way I look at it is this: it will be my police department that is held accountable for the quality of the investigation and the quality of the charges brought. It will be the Attorney General, the Rhode Island Attorney General's responsibility, and he will be held accountable for the quality of the prosecution and the conviction. And so I know the standard that I'm holding myself to and the standard that I'm holding Providence Police to. I can't control other people, particularly other elected officials, and whatever standard they may be held to. But I know what is the most important thing is that we bring good charges and that the Attorney General get a conviction. And so it's been frustrating at times, I know, for members of the community when they hear us choosing words very, very carefully or not saying certain things. But that's because at the end of the day, what's most important is that we get good charges from a sound investigation.
It seems like there's a gap between the carefulness on the city level and at the federal level. Is there a gap between, a disconnect between city and federal at this point?
Again, I truly haven't really been following what other officials have been saying, and it's sort of irrelevant right now because I can only be responsible for my words and for the work of our police department, and we know the standard that we need to maintain and the discipline that we need to maintain, and to date I believe we have. And so other politicians are going to say whatever other politicians are going to say, and I'm not here to police that.
I think that covers my my list.
The only question I had is, so the 311, it seemed, did the 311 roles get purged when the system, when you transferred to the new provider, and is that like part of what's going on here with people not getting notifications?
Yes, they did, and that has been one source of frustration and confusion that we've been trying to remind folks of, and working with the city council, because sometimes that's who people call as their council person. We said it clearly, certainly when we rolled out the new system, but it's different to say it at a press conference a year and a half ago and then the day you want the notification and you don't receive it. I understand that. It is an entirely different new system, and so nothing carried over from the old system. Not text notifications, if you had an old pothole complaint, nothing carried over. And we were clear about that at the time, but it remains true, and clearly many members of the community need to be reminded. You need to enroll for 311 updates, and then you need to opt in to text messages if that's how you'd like to be informed. You can be informed by email also. And if you're not registered, you should register. And from a customer service perspective here, if you need help registering, you can also call 311 and they will register you on the phone. And as a reminder, all of our customer service representatives in 311 are bilingual so that every member of our community can access this service.
And like, put a finer point on it, if people need to essentially re-enroll if they were enrolled, if they haven't enrolled within the last year and a half, they now need to enroll or re-enroll because they're no longer in the system.
Correct. You need to re-enroll. The other thing that comes up that's relevant is the old app no longer functions. Some people still have it installed on their personal phone. And so we do not have the ability to delete an app from someone's phone. But we are not using that app anymore. It is and we tried to explain this when we rolled it out, and we've done a lot of community meetings, and we have little flyers and all the other ways in which we notify and try to help people along. But it is now a web-based platform, which has several reasons we did that. It has helped us provide services better, and it integrates with our work order system. But the old app doesn't work. So even if you say, but I have the app, that's no longer the app.
Gotta wrap it up.
Great, thank you, sir. That was actually super
Yeah.
helpful. Are those